Hey, legacy brands. Today we are diving into something very important for you to embrace once and for all. Your business is not a hustle. And so we have to deep dive into how to design a legacy brand institution. Now let's get right into it. I don't know where it came from, but it seems to me like the hustle culture is now very glorified. We're told to work so hard, press so hard, perform more at the expense of our identity. We're supposed to drive and keep driving till we drop. But what if I told you that this relentless hustle might be against your legacy building than it is for it because it sponsors burnout and it helps you fizzle out before you really do what you were meant to do with this brand? Okay, let's explore why the hustle mentality is a short term game and how embracing a legacy driven approach can lead to enduring success. The first thing we are going to be talking about is the fact that hustle is a short term philosophy. It is a philosophy, it works, it outrightly gives certain types of results, but it is a short term one. Hustle to me looks like preparing for a sprint. It's intense, it's fast, and focused on immediate results within a really short period of time. And while this can lead to quick wins, it is unsustainable in the long run. Of course, it's a sprint run, not a long run. The constant pressure to work hard and achieve more at the expense of your identity and your health can take a toll on an individual's mental and physical outcomes. And that is not what we are for as legacy brand. As we grow older and as you begin to amass success as someone who has built successful endeavors, you begin to know that much more than just quick wins, we need to start thinking in terms of the long term game. On the other hand of thinking of building as a sprint, building a legacy is akin to preparing for a relay marathon. That is the philosophy I see here. So this is not just that it's a marathon, it is a relay marathon. It's not just about your journey, but it's about passing the baton to the future leaders. And this approach is not just about the person that would take over your seat when you leave that seat. It's about the fact that you need an army, you need a people who have embraced your lifestyle, who have embraced your essence, who are building for you and with you with your mantra in their soul. So it's not just about somebody replacing me when I'm gone, it is about passing this message to another generation, an army of people that are ready to move on where we stopped. So, hustle is a short term philosophy that will not work for someone that is building legacy. And as legacy brands, that is what we do. We embrace the rest culture, we embrace the rest philosophy instead of a hustle culture. By the way, to transition from hustle to legacy is why I advocate for aligned and mental health informed approaches. After all, if your vision is to outlive you, it must be deeply rooted in your DNA, whether as a person or as an organization, so that there is resilience and there is continuity. So, if what you're building right now is not aligned, then what you're passing to the next generation is not your DNA. Now, the second thing we need to go into immediately is embracing proven legacy frameworks. Yes, building a legacy is not really about reinventing the wheel. See, the human life makes it evident that legacy is ingrained in nature. It is the reason the woman is built the way she's built. It is the reason the man has the capacity to give a seed. Legacy in itself is not just a business term. It is humanity. It is the essence of sustainable existence. So there isn't no need reinventing the wheel here. It's about the fact that we need to begin to embrace and leverage established frameworks that are stood the test of time. For example, we have research indicating that businesses with a clear vision and a mission that is deep rooted are better positioned for long term success. And so when we look at legacy worthy frameworks, they begin to help us in ways that we can infuse them and then we can use them to help us build thriving organization, thriving brands across nations and across generations. And this is where I want to share about the fact that I love my own legacy worthy roadmaps. For example, at the foundation of building legacy based on my framework is your brand. And your brand is not just about your logo. It's not about it's not about your colors. If that is what your brand is about, then it can never be a framework that is foundational for building your legacy. At the very least, your brand is about your story. And your story is foundational to your legacy voice. If there's anything you are clamoring to transfer to the next generation, please, it is not your signature. It is not even your signage and your picture on a billboard. What you want to transfer into the next generation, whether that means your kids, it means your staff, it means the stakeholders, it means whatever it is, what should be prime at your heart to transfer is your story. Because inside that story, there are frameworks, there are systems that when we use them, I believe they can transform and they can make things become better. So, a legacy worthy framework for me, using my legacy roadmap, is looking at your brand being foundational to the building of your legacy. That's just one of the four parts of the legacy roadmap that I use in helping my people who are just navigating from success to significance, from being multi passionate moguls to becoming legacy icons. I use that to help them to pursue and engage their legacy journey. And so, embracing proven legacy frameworks like this is what we need in designing legacy driven institution because your business is not a hustle. It is a legacy vehicle. And thirdly, leveraging the multi-year for sustainable impact. I love to talk about this, and it is because my multi-passionate, multi-ventured, multi-brands is so dear to my soul, and I have a soft spot for them on this particular channel. Um, it is because for the long time, or let's say for a long time, people have talked down on being multi passionate. And there is this resentment about how it is dispersing your focus and it is dispersing your energy. And before you know it, people leave. People who are inherently multi passionate and multi interested and multi dimensional and multi ventured begin to diss their superpower just because they want to fit into a mold. The question is not whether being multi passionate is evil. The question is how do you harness this superpower of yours for sustainable impact? And this is where I come in with focusing using alignment. Once you focus by choosing one thing, you just dispersed your power, but most importantly, you lost your opportunity for enrichment. Now, when you are building a business and you are trying to build or choose a service or product, it can be highly instrumental to go with the market and find something that suits them and serves them the best. And then it's also very profitable for you if what you're building is a business. But your brand, especially your personal brand, is not necessarily your business. And so when you are trying to express yourself as a personal brand, If your intention is to build a legacy driven institution, then you want to focus on a narrative rather than just a niche. Your personal brand, if it's going to be a legacy personal brand, is enriched with your multi self. And that means that your narrative becomes so rich. Because how do you fight or how do you beat someone that has a mix of being a legal practitioner that is also interested and versatile in finance and loves fashion? By the time you align that and you find the common thread narrative and you push the story as your legacy story and you release that voice, which then becomes the engine for your business, which can be niched. But your story does not have to be niched, it needs to be enriched. And the more multi you are, the more enriched your story is. So, what am I saying here? Instead of embracing the hustle culture, which is one of the reasons why niching is done in a pathologic way for multi-ventured, multi-dimensional people, I'd rather in designing a legacy brand, you enrich your narrative as a personal brand. Then you use that to push the connection, to push the relationships, which then feeds your niched business. That way, you are engaging a design that can help boost your legacy institution instead of just run on building a hustle business, which is not what we are doing here. Right. So, in just rounding things off, this episode is about transitioning from a hustle mentality to a legacy driven approach. And it requires intentionality, it requires the right proven structures. But once it is done right, it frees you to not just hustle, but to thrive. Because I'll always say this, if it is going to be legacy, it cannot be forced. It needs to be an overflow of your true self. It needs to be aligned to your true nature. It needs to be the transfer of your DNA. You can't fake it for long. So, if what you want to build is a legacy, you want to learn how to use an aligned and a born out free strategic approach to your branding, your leadership, and to building all that you need to build in this legacy institution. If you really found this very useful, I'd like you to share what was your aha moment in the comment section and share with your friends. Also, do not forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in other videos. Have a great time, Legacy Brand.